Hey, what's going on, guys? Dietrich here, or some of you might know me from Fantasy Grounds as Torin, and I would like to show you something here that I've been working on to get new cards for the adventure deck for Savage Worlds in Fantasy Grounds. So, as you can see, I have a Google Docs spreadsheet file. The first part is the instructions. It's quite long here. It may seem like it's quite complicated, but it's actually quite straightforward once you understand how it all works together. So to make it all work, we would need a couple of things. One would be, of course, something to open archives, since most of the modules and extensions for Fantasy Grounds are archives. So we'll need something like a 7-zip to open that. We need a good text editor, such as a Notepad++, and a photo editing software, such as a GIMP, for example, but it also needs a batch processing capability. In GIMP, I have a plugin that can handle that. Okay, so in order to make it all work for Fantasy Grounds, Savage World has the adventure deck that you can purchase, and it comes with the 53 cards right from the get-go and some extra cards for various settings as well. If you want to extend it, there is the official manual included with it of how to do it. However, when I tried to do it in the current version, which was 3.3.7, for some reason it kept disabling the main deck in the game, which I could use it, but I could not reshuffle it back in. So I decided, instead of creating a new deck, I would just extend the existing one. And yeah, this is what this is all about. So in order to do that, we would need to have some images ready to go. That would be for our cards. And on the desktop here, I have in the image folder some files that are from fan-made files for the Pirates RPG for Savage Worlds. I just have 4 here just to show you guys. You would need them to be in a resolution that is at least, I believe, what was that? That was 372 by 520 pixels. Anything above that is fine, as long as it's in the standard card format, which is, I believe, 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches overall. So which is a 5 by 7, whatever multiples of that you would find. Yeah, you should have those cards ready in kind of a format like that. They should be in JPEG file. They take up less room, and Fantasy Grounds has an easy time working with them, so that would be lovely. And so you would want to create 3 versions of them. You would need to create the full-size version of 372 by 520. So if it's bigger, you would have to resize it down. You would need to have a smaller version of 149 by 208, and an even smaller one for 54 by 75. The quickest way to do it, and I will show you here in GIMP with batch processing, makes it very nice and simple. So I have batch processing installed in GIMP. I will have links in the description of the video for everything that I use. You can download it and use it for yourself. So you open it up, and it comes out with this menu. So you go to Add Files. You find where you have your images that you would like to edit. So I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. I just double click on them, they get added there. There we go, we have 4 images. So now I would like to get them resized, but before I do that, I'll actually create a few folders here. I will create a folder called Normal, another folder called Large, and another folder called Drag. Oops. Drag. There we go. Okay, so now we have those, and let's open the instructions. It says 372 by 520. So we go into the batch processor, we can do resize, enable it, go to absolute, and type in the width is 372, and height is 520. In the rename, we would like to select the directory where we're going to be putting them out. So this is going to be the large one. We're putting them into the large folder. And then, yeah, you just, I believe, oh yes, in the output, don't forget to change it to JPEG as well. And quality, let's try 75. You can adjust it as you go. You can go for 100%, it's not a problem. Let's actually go for 100 for now. Adjust as you like. The lower you go, the lower the quality will be, but then the lower the file size, which will help a lot if you have a lot of cards in the game. So press start. It will process the images. And now in your folder, in the large, you will find this same exact images, but a little bit smaller. This is the size that we use for the large images. And then we go again to resize, go to, yeah, it's set to, is it set to absolute? Yeah, it is. Okay. And go to 149 by 208. Again, select the directory where you're going to put them in. They will go into normal. Okay. In the output, same thing, everything is good. Get it processing. Now you can see even smaller versions. Okay, and then in the resize again, we go 54 by 75. In the output, we'll select directory and go to drag. Okay, and so the output should be all fine. So just press start. And you'll see that in the drag folder we have tiny little images of those same cards. Perfect. So now I would like to actually rename them according to what I actually tell you right here. So the drag ones will be called at the end _drag. Same for all of them. You might have the batch processor actually allows you to rename them all at the same time as you're exporting them. So you might want to use that instead, but since I only have 4, that should be pretty easy. And then the large, just rename them to _large for all of them. And there we go. And the last one, _large. Make sure that all the cases match correctly. Alright, so that is all done. You would want them in lowercase, _drag for these, for large _large, and for normal, just the normal names. And they all have to be in JPEG. Okay, so now let's move on to actually creating a new extension. As you can see here, go to your Fantasy Grounds folder, find extensions, create a new folder called Adventure Deck Custom, and then, yeah. Let's do that. So I'll close GIMP, we don't need it anymore. So I have a handy shortcut here for my Fantasy Grounds folder. You can open it up, go to extensions, and you will find Adventure Deck extension here. Now what you want to do is create a new folder called Adventure Deck _custom. Okay, we open Adventure Deck with an archive software such as 7-zip. So what I just did was right click, go 7-zip, open archive, and it pops right out. Okay, so in here we would want to select everything and we want to copy it all into Adventure Deck Custom. Now we have a copy of our Adventure Deck. So this will help us a lot, because now we actually get to keep the original Adventure Deck. So if anything gets updated, it gets updated. If you want to play with just the standard deck, you can do so. But you created a second extension now that you can use for your own deck. Now, from here, we extracted that. We will go to that folder. So Adventure Deck Custom folder in our extensions. And we will open the extension file with our text editor. In my case, it's Notepad++, so just open it up. And in here, can I make it smaller? Yes, I can. Okay. So in here, we will replace name Adventure Deck closed name with Adventure Deck Custom, I believe. Yes, with the brackets there. So I just type in custom right in here. And save the file. And I believe, yeah, that is it for this file. We can close it in here and close the text editor. All right, so now let's take a look. Yes, okay, so we need to open the Savage Worlds Adventure Edition Adventure deck here. They have SWADE Adventure and SWD. We want the SWADE, which is the newer version. Okay, we'll open it up, and in here we open graphics, and here you'll find graphics for all the cards that are already present in the standard deck. I'm not going to open any of them up, just in case there is copyright infringements for those, so I'll just keep them nice and small in here. Okay, but you'll notice that there is a larger and a smaller version. So what you'll do, you go to your desktop, you open your images, and you copy the drag ones that you created from here into there, or you can just move them like I did. That works too. And also the normal ones. Just move them over. As you can see, big, small for the original ones, and we also have a big and small one. And if you can see for the resolution here, 149 by 208, 149 by 208, and same. We match the resolution correctly. They are all JPEGs. This is all going to work great. Let's go now to our handy dandy spreadsheet here. Okay, so we've done that. We copied them, or in my case moved them. That's fine. And so now we are on to part 3, editing the graphics XML file, which is located in the Adventure Deck custom folder that we created. In the SWAD Adventure Deck, there is the graphics. You open it with the Notepad++, and as you can see here, it's a fairly simple file. It just lists all the images and connects them to the correct name of the card, or at least gives them a name that the program can use. So scroll all the way down here, go all the way down, and now we can use our spreadsheet, which is nice and handy. We go to Input. Let's name our deck something like a pirate deck. And for every deck that you create and you add, you should start naming them with the number 4, and as you make new ones, go up. So next deck I create would be 5, and next one after that would be 6. The reason for that is that the basic deck, I believe, is number 2, because number 1 is the extra edges it adds. It will come in important later on for the actual module we'll create as well. But for now, let's just name it for the number. And so our card names. Now, let's take a look. I had it on desktop in the images, and let's just name them correctly, so the way they are. Let me just put them side by side so I can see. There we go. So in here, card name, becalmed, give me a second, becalmed, if only I could spell, duel, foul winds, and raft. Now, as you noticed, I am using proper names of the cards, so including any spaces, including any capital letters that they have. If events was starting with a small letter, I would use a small letter. The program, the spreadsheet will sort it all out. It's not a big deal, so just leave it the way it is. And for descriptions, actually, I'm not going to copy over all the descriptions here. I'm just going to quickly type in becalmed card description. So this is description of the card that you will see in Fantasy Grounds, actually. You will still see whatever the description appears on the card when you open it like that. However, in order for it to appear in chat when you drop the card in there, you would need to copy all this text into the description boxes for each of the cards here. And as you can see in here, you can do up to 50 cards at a time. I thought that was a pretty good number. We'll just do 4 for now, just as an example here. Okay, so as you can see, so in the input we entered our card names, our deck name, all that good stuff, and in here it creates the entries for the graphics XML for us. We don't have to do any typing. I know if you're doing a few cards, that's fine, that's pretty easy. But if you're doing 50 of them, that becomes quite tedious. So as you can see, it actually entered the name and the name of the JPEGs that we are using. But it's very important that your JPEGs are named correctly. If you have any doubts, just look at the JPEG names that come out in here and use those. But for now, we'll just copy all of these. Just click Ctrl+C, go into our notepad, and at the bottom here, we'll just click Ctrl+V, and I'll just tab these over. And as you can see, they have the exact same style. I'll just make another space so we can tell them apart. Exact same style as the upper ones, we are just missing now the drag ones. So for those, go into the spreadsheets, go into the graphics XML entries drag, and grab the 4 that you need from here. Okay, and paste them right in here as well. So now we've got our drag cards sorted and our regular cards sorted out. And as you can see, they all named correctly the way they are named there. We just have extra the actual deck name in there as well. I just like to do it that way, just in case you have several decks in here. It will help you see through all of this mess. Now let's go to instructions again and take a look what's next. So we copied them over where we are. Extensions, card names. So yeah, so this just tells you how to properly name your card names and the image names that you will use. And we copied, we copied that and copied that as well. So we're done with these two parts. Now we save the file and we can close it. We are done with the graphics file. See, we're just flying through this. Alright, so the next part is in our adventure deck folder. Right next to the graphics, there is a file called Adventure Deck LUA. Let us open it up in a notepad. In here you'll find entries again for all the cards with their description and with the reference to a large image, which is not the same as those graphic images. This is a reference to a module, which we'll create a little bit later. So as you can see here, you have basic cards. This is the list of all the basic cards. And then we have the decks, which is the list of all the decks it has. So it now has only the basic card deck. Yours might have more or less depending on if it has extra setting decks. I noticed that the old version, the Savage World Deluxe Edition, had several there, which I actually copied for mine. I'm just showing you the sort of the process here for you creating your own one from the start. So in here, what you would want to do is you go at the bottom here to .lua entries sheet. And as you can see here, Excel, or in this case Google Docs, has created for us entries that we can put into our file. Now, to input them there correctly, first we need to open our new deck in there. So the way the deck usually looks like is it's the name of the deck equals open brackets, the list of the cards, and the close brackets. So just like this one here, right? So we just copy this one over, right underneath, paste it in here, rename it to Pirate Cards. Okay, close it here. And then from our handy sheet, we'll copy these and paste them right in here. And I'll just tab them over so they look nicely. So as you can see, it's got the name of the card, the actual proper name of the card, it's got the description of it, the way we entered, with all the spelling mistakes as well, and as well as a reference to the image we'll later create for the module. If you will notice, it is slightly different because these refer to the regular adventure deck, but we will be creating a custom deck images. So in order in order for these cards, the original cards, to refer to the same module, what we can do is we can go to search, replace. And what we are looking for is this. And we replace it with one that says custom at the end. That is all it takes. We just press replace all. You should see 57 occurrences happen. Close that. And if you take a look, now they say Adventure Deck Custom. So that is perfect. Now we did the card entries. Now we need to add our deck to the list of them. And the way to do it, we go to instructions. Let's take a look here. Yes, so you enter it. Let's just copy. We can just copy this one actually, it's not a problem. We'll just copy this one over. And we will name it something like that. Pirate. Description SWADE. Pirate cards. This is important part right here. This is the actual reference to the deck. The other ones are simply names, keys. It's not as important as this exact part. Pirate cards. It has to match exactly the way it is here. And default, set it to off. That way, when you load the Fantasy Grounds, it actually should be by default off, and you can turn it on as you like. Okay, so I believe with that done, yes, with that done, we are off to testing. Now let's see if actually my stuff works. So this is all saved. I can close it all. Close that for now. Let's open Fantasy Grounds. Create a new campaign. Savage Worlds. Test campaign. Can you tell I can't spell? Okay, and in here you'll notice that now we have Adventure Deck Custom and a regular Adventure Deck. So do not load both at the same time, because you essentially have a copy of the Adventure Deck in your Adventure Deck Custom, so you do not need both. And if you load both, I am not sure what will happen. I haven't tested it, but I just suggest you don't try it in case it will mess with Fantasy Grounds. So we'll just create a test campaign. Hit start. Let Fantasy Grounds sort itself out. And what do we have here? So it says Adventure Deck. So it says in the file that we just edited, on the line 71, it expects a bracket, but we are missing one. So it's fairly straightforward what it tells you to do. In our case here, let's take a look where I was. Desktop, Fantasy Grounds shortcut, extension, Adventure Deck. And in here, we'll open it and take a look where we messed up. So we have a closing bracket here. And what am I looking for? Line 71, it expects a closing. Oh yes, okay, so I believe that is the issue. It will need commas in there. Okay, let's load it up. Now it's already set up, so might as well just load it up and take a look. Alright, no errors this time. It loaded up perfectly well. So yes, just in this file, when you're creating an entry for your new deck, don't forget to put a comma behind the first one and the second one. This tells the program that this one ends with the comma and this one now starts. Otherwise, it goes a little bit crazy. So okay, in Fantasy Grounds, what we will do now is we'll go to Settings. In Adventure Deck, we will enable it. Scroll all the way down. You will see you have your basic cards, and now you have your pirate cards. 53 in there, 4 in here. We will exclude the basic cards for now. It will make our testing quite a bit easier. So from here, you have the deck. Let me actually move it a little bit closer to the chat. Lock position. Okay. And I'll actually reshuffle it since it had all the cards in there before. So yes, now it only has 4. And let's test if it works. So you click on it, you drag, see there is a small card appearing. Perfect, that is exactly what we want. You drop it in the chat. It says adventure card played, raft card description. This is working. Okay. Make sure all the cards you added work. Just like that. And no more cards come out. And all their description and everything works. And reshuffle. And try that they work again. Okay. And now go to settings. And include the regular deck. And the reason being is I want to make sure that the regular deck gets shuffled back in. And it does. 57 cards in there now. So perfect. Everything works as intended. You can close Fantasy Grounds. So that part is done. Our extension is working. And let's take a look now. What is the next step? So testing is all complete. Yeah, so let's go to picture module. Yes, so Fantasy Grounds Adventure Deck comes with 2 parts. One is extension, which lets you actually use the deck, and the other one is the module. Let's open the modules up and take a look. Where is it? We're looking for the... Where did it go? There it is. SW... whatever. Adventure Deck. Here it is. What we should do is just click drag, and it should make a copy. Maybe not. Copy. And can you paste? Paste. There we go. And this copy we will name Adventure Deck _ custom. Okay, so this creates a new module file which we can open with our archive opener. And here we have images and a few other files in here. So what we would want to do is on where we have our images saved, the large ones, we can drag these large ones into here. Are you sure you want to copy files to archive? Yes, please. Okay, and as you can see, they appear in here. As you can see, they're quite hefty in comparison to other ones. That's because we did not compress them at all in my case, but compress them as you see fit. You know, as long as they're legible, but save you some space, that's all you want. Okay, so images are done. Now, what you would want to do is, let's just make sure that I'm doing it correctly. Picture module, yeah, images, okay. Yes, so we will go to the desktop, client and definition XMLs. We will copy them onto here. Okay, so we will open definitions with the notepad, and we will just add custom to here. Don't add any brackets here because this is what your extension will use to reference to this module. So I don't think it can work with brackets. I haven't tried, but I will just stay away from that just in case. So keep it this way. Okay, we can actually close that file. So that file, this file is done. We can close it. Okay, and in this case we can copy it right back in. It will ask you if you want to copy them back. Sure, copy them back there. So now the definitions file is done. We'll work on the client file. You will open it up, and this is a fairly complicated file, but if you follow the instructions correctly, you should be able to do it in no time. So just add custom to this as well. Okay, and in here, if you follow the instructions, yes, we change the custom. And using search and replace, we will replace again Adventure Deck with Adventure Deck Custom. So let's take a look. So we find one of these references here, search, replace with custom, replace all of them. 106 occurrences. Okay, sounds good. That is done. And let us go and see. Scroll down almost to the end and find where the cards close and where the adventure deck closes as well. We'll just scroll all the way to the end, and you can see here, just before this part, there is cards closing and adventure deck closing. Make a little bit of room here. And in here, in our spreadsheet in the client XML entries file, you will find entries that you can put in here. So you will take these 4 and copy them right in here. Now they don't look quite the same as the other ones. That's because they are all in one row instead of being split into rows. That is fine. They will work just fine. This is just done for readability, so this will work just okay. Okay, so that part is done. If you follow the instructions, next we need to scroll up to see entries, adventure deck, cards, library, blah blah blah. Okay, so let's start scrolling up. It's a fair bit away, but you'll see, there we go, that's where it is. You can see it changes in here. So this is where what we just entered was references to the images. Now what we would want to do is create library entries so that from Fantasy Grounds you can open your module for the adventure deck and scroll through those cards and take a look at them and take a look at the artwork. Just like you would do for any sort of manuals for any of the modules or whatever. So in here, just before the entries, make yourself some room. Okay. Everything you'll be putting in here will go before that part. So we'll go to the headers. Client XML library headers. First, we would want to copy this and paste it in here. And just make it pretty so that it all lines up. Okay, that opens our pirate deck list. Next, go to the library list, copy your four cards. There we go. And again, make them pretty. Okay. After that, jump back to library headers, part 2, copy that. Over, right underneath. Oops, come on now. There we go. Okay, so this just creates an entry called Pirate Deck, and inside of it there is a list of cards. Another thing we would like to enter is the cards themselves individually as well. What I noticed is that's how it's done for the rest of the module, so we might as well copy that and do it the same way. Paste them in here. They're quite long. Just tab them over a little bit. So as you can see, the entry is the 4th deck that we have, Pirate Deck. Entry 0 is the list of them. Entry 1 is the first card, 2, 3, and so forth. Okay, let's just check the instructions. Where were we? There we go. Okay, so now we can save this file, client XML, close it, and don't forget to copy it into the module. Copy, yes please. Okay, open Fantasy Grounds again, load your campaign, make sure your custom deck is selected. Okay, so now in your library, in the modules, I'll probably have a ton of them in here, yep, but you'll see there is the adventure deck and the adventure deck custom. Select this and load it. You'll see in here, you have your basic adventure deck, it has all the basic cards, your new edges, all that stuff. If you scroll down, if everything went correctly, yeah, you will see the pirate deck and the 4 new cards. So if you open Pirate Deck, it again has the 4 new cards. You can open each and every one of them, make sure everything works correctly, and then open every card as well, just to make sure that it all works from here as well. So now, to test that it all works together, create a character, anything, just call him Test. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Open his adventure cards. And let me just drop the regular deck again, because I don't want to mess with all that. Exclude it. Reshuffle. And did I close him? Yeah, I did. Okay. Adventure decks, and drag all your 4 cards in here. And then you can... Oh, no, that does not work. Why does it not work? Oh, I see what happened. Okay. Okay, so there we go. Our first error, and I know where it comes from. So in the Fantasy Grounds folder, if that happens to you, as you can see here, it's trying to reference a card that's located in Adventure Deck Custom Custom. That is wrong. It has to be just Adventure Deck Custom. And this error comes from the module, the extension. So close that, open here, extensions, our extension, go to the deck, open this LUA file, and you will find that in here I messed up and I put custom twice. That is my bad. So what you would do, I would recommend you to do, is when you are editing this part where it was just set the adventure deck, for these ones here, right, it was just the adventure deck. In this case, just select it all, including the quotation marks. That way, it cannot reference to these ones because they don't have quotation mark going after the deck. And then replace them all. That will solve the problem. Or alternatively, you can do them first and then copy these in here. That will work either way. But in any case, if you're facing an issue like that, make sure that you didn't accidentally put custom twice in here. Save it. You would need to reload Fantasy Grounds, not the whole program, but at least the campaign. Load it up. Okay. So now, where's our character? He's got some cards. And yeah, they probably need to be deleted, aren't they? Reshuffle and deal it out. There we go. Yeah, so now we can drag them all out into here. That's all. You can double click, it will show up. You can drag them, you see a small picture, drags into here, you can click on it, it will show up too. Alright, everything works, and as you can see, it shows you the name of the card up top here, as well as the description, if you notice in that screen here. I have a very small font right now, and yeah, it's kind of hard to see, but yeah, in any case, so this works. Yeah, you know what? Do whatever testing you need to do. I think this should be working correctly. Now, if you include the rest of it, make sure the rest of it still works. Yeah, you can still have that. You can still drag it into the character here and open it up. So that all works correctly. Okay, I hope you enjoyed, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, or hit me on the Fantasy Grounds College Discord under name Torin. Yeah, I'll have all the stuff that you need in the description down below, including the link to the spreadsheet that I use. And the instructions for everything are here in the spreadsheet as well. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.